we've got the ridge behind us here. We rented this hotel room, so it's pretty cool.
So who is the boss, Brenda,
Who's the boss?
of the anti-capitalism?
The man upstairs.
So I've got to get a pair of tennis shoes out to a homeless person, kind of like pronto. So I'm gonna have to leave. But I just also scored a huge amount of books to load up in the free box, and maybe free table and a bag of clothing. Oh, on me? Me. Well, we're just kind of so we were having some technical difficulties. I'm convinced that cell phones are not the best form. They're lovely, but I like the camera angle. I need to learn how to make a decent stream.
It's happening, man.
Yeah, but I also would probably prefer to use a laptop just for ease and convenience. Because it's just so easy.
Because
like
we're
quick
talking
times.
about the world right now.
The world, Brent, do you want me to show them what you've got here? I mean, it's going to be reversed in anybody.
Anti-capital. That was our cue.
Read backwards.
Of our conversation.
Yeah,
topic.
because some people don't want to talk about that.
They just don't. It's just a hard topic to talk about.
But can I show them my shoes? Can we move on to fashion?
Yeah, let's
so
do it.
This is what I found in the free box. And speaking of free and anti-capitalism,
How much is
the
that
thing
worth?
that boggles
Tell
my
me,
mind
the
in
important
a rich community, I can claim to be anti-capitalist, but these alone were probably like at least $80, if not $140. So am I anti-capitalist because I find something in a free box in a rich country?
Right.
There are kind of ironies going on.
There are some ironies.
But my friend Nathan at Occupy London, he was very into distributionism as a philosophy, that there is enough wealth and abundance in the world. It's all about distribution. And wealth hoarding is what prevents prosperity from happening and people being able to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, anti-capitalism could be more about distribution of resources. For instance, the food not bombs. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. People are interested in finding more ways to help feed the hungry in our community in a non-authoritarian way, non-hierarchical, non-salaried way.
Non-capitalist, right?
Non-capitalist way.
There's no, but then you got to look at the devil's advocate and go, okay, where's this? Who's paying for this? Free stuff.
Sorry, there was a grocery store in Portland that donated huge amounts of pastries and cakes to the Food Not Bombs, but they supposedly said it was all a tax write-off. Like all their donation was a tax write-off, so it was just it was a win-win, and then also the actual business was a tax write-off for a lumber industry person who was just like, oh, I want to have a natural foods grocery. It eventually got replaced on the location by a New Seasons that's far more corporate. I like New Seasons ethos frequently as much as I know about it. Or like, I think they're like a B corporation. All those like level logos B. About level, of like treating their workers nicely and interesting. So what do you think, Brenda?
Well, the history of co-ops is interesting and how it's gone majorly corporate.
But we do have an interested party who would be interested in feeding homeless on weekends in Astoria because for people who are or are not kicked out of lifeboat, they definitely are going hungry all weekend, so nobody's feeding them on the weekend.
Right. And how, so where's that going right now? Huh?
It's scary. I mean, like I made a little extra rice. I put I had enough food for like 3 little meals. But that to me, Food Not Bombs is more like a way of life. But when it's done well, you could feed a bunch of people, like 20 people or 50 people. And we used to do it in Portland with bike trailers. And then often somebody has a vehicle, which helps a lot. Or some people are opposed to fossil fuels. So then you've got that, trying to do everything the hard way by bicycles or carrying things. Right. But some of the best people I ever met were in Portland Food Not Bombs around 2006 or Los Angeles in around like 2005. And then Nashville, 1998. Food Not Bombs was very radical, and they were often under attack by city governments and regulation, and it was really hard for me to comprehend the level of suffering we have in the American homeless framework. I really believe in housing for everyone.
Yeah, and well, speaking of, like, the other day I was talking about tiny homes, and someone actually dared to say on there, what's the point of this if these tiny homes aren't affordable to anybody? because of course you've got the luxury market now.
Yeah.
Luxury tiny homes for people who have $500,000. And this guy, he was a worker. He had built these tiny homes.
Yeah.
And of course, I get involved and I woke up with him, and I was like, it is possible that people can build a tiny home and not cost. For God's sakes, it can only cost a couple $1,000s. And you have all these like buildings that are just sitting empty, and there's just a lot of judgment of those people.
I had this little blitz where I was watching some Russia Today, feeling somewhat guilty. But there's this funny show called I think it's called the Max Kaiser Report. They talk about cryptocurrency, but for some reason our format is reminding me of them. They have this cutest lady, economist lady, and she talks about virtue signaling and how people do performative like philanthropy for the marketing of their persona. Like, look at me handing this muffin to a impoverished person.
See, that's
And
the evilness.
it's like it's kind of the how you're enhancing your value by proving your kindness.
And that's the extent of what we really see in
performative
mainstream
social media. Like, look at me do something.
Yeah. And
So
that's
good to get away
majorly
from that.
the anti-capitalism being the capitalism being our dominant operating system here, or on the entire planet, really. Then that's like underground kind of thing.
Well, and like our friend was saying, there are different systems of value. There's all different types, like value of your street cred or your persona or your name or your charisma or your talents or the potentials in the future. But there are different types of value beyond money. Okay, yeah. So are we good? That was our fun little test. Okay, way to go, Brenda. We did it.
I don't want to go too long because then we'll be like